It's Tuesday, it's 12:30, and I've remembered to be here. So hopefully I get another 6 years without forgetting like I did last week. So this month we're continuing our discussion about the little tweaks I'm making to my strength and conditioning sessions because they're women's only. And we've talked before about the reasons, why women are generally more mobile, primarily the higher levels of estrogen, which sort of acts on joint laxity, and therefore we're also usually less stable than our male counterparts. And we've also talked before about why women are more vulnerable to pelvic dysfunctions. And it's for these reasons, these two reasons, that in the abs or core component of every group exercise activity I've ever participated in my sessions, they're either stability based or they're pelvic floor inclusive. It's not often, in fact, I would go as far to say never do we ever just train abs just for training abs. Okay, so stability is more than standing on one leg, okay, or bird dogs. It's a lot about moving through motion or moving through ranges and controlling the body center of gravity, or their staying stationary on one leg while the other leg does a figure of eight or a bit of tai chi or something like that. And because joint laxity is often estrogen driven, not always, it will often, not always, fluctuate throughout the month, but also throughout the lifespan. If we think of things like puberty, pregnancy, menopause, it means any woman's stability is going to vary, like session to session, year in, year out. It's going to change. And I think that is part of that multifaceted reason why women are so much more likely to get injured in a gym than men. Have not read a study to support that opinion, so don't jump on me, but it's just my gut feeling. So the stability training has to be a daily work. It has to be something we practice over and over and over again, because she's always or often in a different body, okay, and experiencing life in a different way. And then, of course, we've talked about changing directions, not just standing on one leg, but actually controlling her body through space and time. So it's movement-based, range of motion-based stability training. And then if we do traditional abs training, which, I will lie a client down and do crunches, but I always incorporate the pelvic floor work as well. And the reasons for this is because of the high number of women, especially athletic women. So don't forget, women that are involved in sports such as gymnastics and athletics are more than twice as likely to develop stress urinary incontinence than like general populations women. So the fitter and the stronger your female client, the more pelvic floor work you kind of have to do in their abs or core components of their sessions. And when I say we do work, I'm not just talking about strengthening and lifting the pelvic floor. I'm also talking about dropping it. I'm talking about timing, like when it lifts. And I'm also talking about coordination. And a lot of the stability work we do is an unconscious pelvic floor work, because anytime the femur is moving in the hip joint and anytime the low back is moving above the pelvis, the pelvic floor is working and coordinating. So again, I don't always do traditional lying down abs. I say abs because core to me is much more than just the abs. But I can incorporate pelvic floor and deep core work in a deadlift, hanging from a bar, doing a back extension, performing some of those animal flow movements. It's rare to find us on the floor doing sit-ups, but when we do, we're incorporating the pelvic floor. The rest of the times we're upright, we're working on stability, and we're working on moving through space and time, because that is, a primary concern that's specific to women more generally than it is to men. So little tweak to the ab component of your group sessions. Direct message me with your questions.